What do you think happens if there is a date certain set for that withdrawal?
I think we've reached a truly tragic moment in this conflict where a fundamental decision is going to have to be made. If the United States troops stay, there will be mounting casualties and, of course, mounting costs for the American taxpayer. If they leave, I think from the perspective of 4 years and more of watching this war in Baghdad, there's no doubt that the conflict could get a great deal worse very quickly, and we'd see levels of suffering and of casualties amongst Iraqis that potentially could dwarf the ones we've seen to this point. Most of us would agree that there is a civil war in progress, but the countervailing force that is exercised by the presence of principally American, but other coalition troops, is a very significant factor. It leaves a potential for a considerable worsening once you remove that countervailing force. There's no doubt when American troops enter a neighborhood in Baghdad, as of course they are in increasing numbers now under the present surge, that it has a calming effect. Remove that calming effect, remove that countervailing force, and then there will be no limit to this violence.
And so what about this idea also that if we leave behind a vacuum that other states in that region will rush to fill?
Very difficult to tell what they would do. Of course, this could come as a wake-up call to them once they were convinced that American troops were going to withdraw and that they might get drawn in. Perhaps they would get serious amongst themselves about drawing up some sort of compact to avoid that possibility. But that's purely in the realm of speculation. We really don't know what their intentions would be, but there's certainly a potential for a regional conflict here.
And scenario number 3, John, is that if we leave a terrorist haven behind in Iraq, as the president has warned over these last 4 years, eventually we're going to have to fight those terrorists again here at home. What's the likelihood of that, in your opinion?
Well, of course, it's very difficult for me for anybody to predict what would happen, but I think that we only have to look at Afghanistan to see what happens when you have a failed state and an Islamic militant component of some size, not necessarily controlling the state, but certainly in Anbar province to the west of Baghdad, they probably would have effective control, and that's a province that abuts, as you know, to the west, key Sunni Arab states.
Right.
Who knows what could happen, but certainly, yes, there's a potential for an external threat arising from that.
And from what you've seen, from what you heard, is the surge working?
When I left Baghdad, it was just beginning, but what I see and hear from here in England at the moment is that the American Military Command is reporting a 25% decrease in overall levels of violence in Baghdad. That was predictable. The question, of course, is how long can you sustain it, and is the American public prepared to pay the costs of sustaining it, not over 6 months or 12 months, but more likely over a much longer period than that.